Hello, I'm David Headley, and I chose Chapter 12, Grappling. I thought this was a very interesting chapter. I looked through the other chapters, and this is the one that really stood out to me and that I felt passionate about. So, uh, influencing grappling. Schools exist for children, but children are often seen as the school's clients. As its powerless people, they are told that they are in school not because of what they know, but because of what they don't know. All over the world, powerless people lose the instinct to help because they are so often rebuffed. Putting oneself on the line may be valuable, but it invites the kind of criticism that is rarely applied to the young. So I got a lot of stuff stood out to me, and I pulled out, but I don't want to just sit here and read slides. Basically, so what grappling, the point of influencing grappling and bringing it into the classroom is to create an environment where wrong answers and critical thinking thrive. It's not to just have the standardized test, this is what I'm teaching, and then stop it there and have it closed off. We want to create critical thinkers that contextualize the material in a way that makes it really stick in their minds. And there were just so many great tidbits. They can do this in school by considering examples, some literary, some historical, and some scientific that are interesting and in which a human must choose between possible actions. I really like that. They gave examples of actually incorporating grappling into your lessons. Just great stuff all the way through. Moving on, grappling, why it's important. Few schools place a high value on questioning, even though it is the habit that is most likely to lead to consequential scholarship and responsible adulthood. The material that stays in a student's head only until the test will never make it into his or her outlook. I really like that one. It's one of those things. When I was reading this, that one really stuck in my mind. Uh, I would have professors in college that would tell stories, and the stories would stick more so than I had an economics teacher that was talking about. He was from Africa, and he was talking about how he had like 9 brothers, and the one brother would be like, I don't eat, I don't want meat. And then the moral of the story is he came back, asked for the meat, and he got half of all the meat. But I remember that story more than I do a lot of the economic principles. And that one really stuck in my mind. And it's one of those things whenever the students are personalizing and actually thinking about the material and making the material uh, part of, it's making that connection to the material and thinking deeper on it, it sticks better. And that's really what the sole purpose of grappling is, to make sure that we're getting out of the first 2 layers of just memorization and really getting into it where we're creating critical thinkers. Why we must teach students grappling. We're selling our children short when we believe that grappling is beyond them. In fact, most of them are engaging in dilemmas of intense seriousness while we're looking the other way. And I mean, I deal with it every day. I have students where I'm like, well, why you're not showing up to class, da 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 da. And I get onto them for that. And then I ask, I go ahead and dig deeper and ask why. And it's because, they have to pay rent, or they have to help with this or that, and they can't do the after school programs. They can't do the dual credit stuff that we've set up at the local junior college because they have to work for rent. And it's one of those things, these kids at 16, 17, 18 are dealing with, the equivalent of what I'm dealing with as a grown man. And to treat them like children, I mean, I have to, of course, in some respects, but to talk down to them it's not doing any good. And most of them won't be forced into good habits, but they are willing to talk about moral choices, and they can decide that some courses of action are better than others. And that's a big one, is to try to set that example and lead by that example. I never lie to them. If I'm wrong, I tell them I'm wrong, and to, to just lead by example on that. Confusion and chaos. I really, 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 really love this section. I have a classroom where I really try to let everybody have an equal voice. Of course, I will turn on that dictator hat when I have to. I try not to whenever possible. But other teachers have commented many, many times that they walk by my classroom and it just looks like chaos. And of course, I'm blessed to have a principal that supports my my chaotic classroom. But there's a level of engagement and discourse in my classroom that that I don't recall, definitely not in high school, seeing. And I believe that it allows us to get deeper into issues, um, and to have them leave the classroom thinking about that discussion and what they could have said and what they didn't say and stuff like that. Those are, that's what the grappling is all about, to dig it into that next level, so that it really, really sticks. And just this whole slide, I couldn't fit enough stuff on this slide. When the external tests are administered, however, the honest grappling that the teacher has encouraged may end up harming students. That's the one risk that we do run with grappling, is if I let them, when they're allowed to run in too many different directions, we can sometimes kind of miss what the answer would be on a standardized test. And I've seen that before. I was doing like a weekly check on something, and it was a Cold War question, and she said, well, you were talking about this and this and this, and she picked the wrong answer because we did have a discussion and we went, all kind of different ways with it. And that really stood out to me. And that is one unfortunate side effect of that. But I really enjoyed that part, and it really spoke to me. Few schools are able to allow the time necessary for students to grapple, and that is another unfortunate. You have to cut. We're stuck with these time restraints, and you have to fit the lesson and the teaks and everything in there, and then also to allow for to cut the time out to be able to grapple and to really reach that higher level of thinking. There's not always time, but I really, really enjoyed this chapter, and thank you so much for watching my presentation. Have a wonderful evening.